Hello and welcome to this video about the Citizen Blue Angels World Chronograph AT8020-54L using the H800 module. Like all of the Citizen Blue Angels watches, it's a very nice looking watch that receives a radio signal of the time, hopefully on a nightly basis as long as it's working properly for you, so you won't have to worry about adjusting the time, and it also, of course, has the eco drive, so you won't have to worry about regularly replacing batteries. I actually have an eco drive watch that's still working after almost 20 years. So this particular watch, of course, it is a chronograph. You can use the top right button, known in the manual as the B button, to put everything into the chronograph mode, so it zeroes everything out. The second hand of the watch will count the seconds, the lower subdial will show fractions of a second, and the upper subdial will count minutes up to an hour. So pressing B once zeroed everything out, and then now I have started the actual stopwatch, and then you can stop it by hitting B again, and you can reset it to 0 by pressing the bottom button, or A, and then if you hit A again, you resume standard timekeeping mode. So pretty simple there. An additional thing that you'll probably want to do on a semi-regular basis is to check the power level as well as whether the radio signal has been properly received. And you can do that by pressing the lower right button or the A button once. And the upper subdial, I know it's difficult to see with where the minute hand is positioned currently, but there's a power level along the left side. Sorry, it's going back into timekeeping mode, so I'll hit that again. The power level, low, medium, or high, and it's pointing to, having a good reserve of power, so I don't need to put it out in the sun or anything like that. And then the lower subdial shows whether the most recent time signal was properly received, and it's pointing to OK right now. It could also point to RX or no. If it says no, if it did not properly receive a signal, then you'll want to hold in A, the lower right button, for 2 or more seconds, and then the lower subdial will point to RX, and it will try to manually receive the radio signal. Usually it will try on its own a few times throughout the night, so even if it says no for you, as long as you know that you're in a reasonable range of one of those radio towers, and as long as you leave it by a window or something like that, especially a window that's facing in the direction of the nearest radio signal to you, it should work fine, as long as you just have a little patience. Thankfully, in this case, it did receive a proper signal, so everything has been automatically adjusted for me, and I don't need to worry about it at this moment. When you first receive the watch, of course, you will likely need to adjust the time zone. In my case, I'm in the Eastern time zone of the United States, so I would want to set it to NYC on the inside of the inner ring there. You can see that at the 12 o'clock position right now is LON for London, so there are various world cities around the inside of that inner ring. And all you do to change that is pull the crown out to position 1, and the second hand of the watch automatically jumps to what world city the watch is set to. I already have mine set to New York City. And to change that, you would just move the crown, just rotate it, and just go slowly, one city at a time until you reach the one that you need. And then to set it, just push the crown back in to position 0, and the standard timekeeping mode resumes. Another thing that you might need to do is adjust the daylight savings time or summertime setting. Here we do observe daylight savings time at least for a few more hours. This happens to be the day, early tomorrow morning is when it will change. We'll go from daylight savings back to standard time. But to check your setting, you put it to crown position 1, and you can see that in the upper subdial, it's pointing to on. And that means that daylight savings time is on rather than off. You can toggle that using the upper right B button. Another thing to note is that the lower subdial, because it's pointing to the 12 o'clock position, or 0.00 seconds in this case, that means that daylight savings adjustment is set to automatic. If it were pointing down, the 6 o'clock position, or 0.50 seconds as is actually shown on the dial, then that would be manual. I want to leave everything as it is, but if I wanted to change it to manual, I would hold in A for a couple of seconds to alter that. So press B to toggle between on and off, and hold in A to change from auto to manual, or vice versa. And then again, if I want to resume standard timekeeping, just put the crown back in to 0. So in closing, I just wanted to look at a couple more features of the watch, because I sort of skipped over those. Of course, there's the left subdial showing the 24-hour clock. So if the hand is on the right, then it's AM, and on the left it's PM. There is a small date window, and then on the lower subdial, when it's in standard timekeeping mode, it does indicate the day of the week. So currently, I don't know how visible that is in this video, but it's pointing to Saturday. So really a nice looking, very useful watch that you don't need to worry about too much, because it takes care of itself, both power-wise and setting the time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.